So hello, welcome to today's talk. It is called Something Astonishing Begins to Happen When You Totally Accept That Your Life is Not Actually About You. Yeah. So maybe you've just clicked on this video and you have no idea about non-duality or about this subject. And so I'm going to explain it on more simple terms. So if you have just randomly clicked onto this video, then you can understand a bit more of something called non-duality, which comes originally from India, Hinduism, but it's found in Buddhism, in Jainism, in Sikhism, in Sufism, Islam, Judaism, Christianity. Yeah, everywhere. New Age. Philosophies. So non-duality is the premise that there isn't a separate soul or a separate individual inside these bodies. I know that might sound really full on if you've never heard about this before. Because we're taught from a very young age that we are souls inside of these bodies that are going to go to heaven when we die. That we are an entity, a separate entity that exists in here and is controlling the body and is separate from the rest of the world. Whereas non-duality is the most beautiful philosophy, although it's not really a philosophy. It's the actual experience when it's explored. But the philosophy, just so I can teach it to you, but this is a calling to explore for yourself, to see for yourself. The philosophy is that God isn't separate or different from what and who you are. And that the person that you've taken yourself to be your whole life, the name, the body, the one that's done things in time, the one that's made mistakes, the one that's going places, the one that has been hurt, has been happy, has fallen in love, has been abandoned, that one doesn't actually exist, but is a projection of the mind. A projection of thoughts and images. I mean, that's such a full-on idea. It's an insanely beautiful idea if it's really reflected upon. But it's a full-on idea if you've never heard it before. So non-duality suggests that our mind, or our brain, is projecting a story of you, a story of the body, a story of you existing in time, a story of you being born into this world, and a story of somebody that's going to do things in the future. And that isn't actually who's experiencing. There is something prior to that which is experiencing. So one of the non-dual pointings is anything you see cannot be the experiencer. So anything that is perceived in this cannot be that which is experiencing. So if there is an experiencing of your story, who is it that's experiencing that? It's not the story. So it's not the story that's saying, I'm good, I've done all these things for charity, I've got 10,000 followers on TikTok, whatever story it's telling itself. That is not experiencing because you see it, you watch it. There is a watching of that story. So what is it that is watching that? Who is it that's watching that? Most humans always believe that they are the story and they don't question this very simple but massive, gigantic, enormous mistake. That there is something that is watching the story of you. So the story of you cannot be who you truly are. There is something deeper in which you are. So in non-duality, they would say that that which is deeper is consciousness. So there is a consciousness of your story, and the consciousness is always here in every scenario. Whether you fly to the moon or Timbuktu, whether you're in prison, whether you're cleaning toilets, folding, washing, there is consciousness. There can never not be consciousness. Like, try to imagine your experience without consciousness. There is always consciousness. There is always perception happening. The story of you, however, is coming and going. The story of what you did is coming and going. Of who you are is coming and going and evolving and changing over time. The body is coming and going. The feelings are coming and going. But the consciousness never comes and goes, is always here and always watching the person. So non-duality also suggests that there's something else in the experience which is always here. The feeling of I am. Not the I am something. Not the I am good, I am bad, I've done this, I am angry, I am happy, I am going for a walk later. Just I am. The feeling of I am. That same feeling of I am as when you were 6 years old, 10 years old. There's always this feeling of I am. So there's these two apparent phenomena that appear always. Everything else is in movement and changing. And that is consciousness and I am. Consciousness and I am. So there is something aware of the story of you. And who is that? Who is aware of the story of you? There is such freedom in this message and such beauty in this message. However, it's mostly misunderstood because when people often hear it, they stay in the story to try to find consciousness. Rather than this isn't a new story being given to you, this is something that's actually happening now. There is perception prior to any thought of anything. There is consciousness happening. And what is this consciousness? What is this I am? If it's not I am angry, I am a body, I am good, I am bad, and all these titles we give ourselves, what is it then? And that's the mind-blowing thing. What is it? What is this I am? What is this consciousness? And this is often why the person, the story of ourself, is afraid of this, because consciousness and I am is undefined. It's so undefined, it's not finite or infinite, even though we often say infinite, but it's actually even beyond that. It's not good or bad, right or wrong, black or white. It is undefined. And to the story of you, that is very scary, because the story is always trying to be defined. The story is always trying to be the best version of itself. I am better than this person. I am more like than this person. I have more followers than that people. I can put better pictures of my food on Instagram than my neighbor. So if you look for the place, or go into the place in which you aren't defined, and everybody has this ability. I mean, we could say whose ability is that, because who would go? It's seemingly at first the story that begins to go to this consciousness and this I am. So it's a story that's like tuk, 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 and looking around to investigate what is inwards. You know, I've always said I am angry, I am good, I am bad. But if I go inwards to that which is prior to these titles, then there begins to be a disappearing. There begins to be a disappearing. So in non-duality, what is recommended is self-investigation, to not take these concepts as a new belief system, but to use them to help investigate what the actual experience is. Because in non-duality, God is not apart from you. God is not somebody that you have to impress, that you have to get to. God is who you are. So it's not that you have to learn and get new things. It's that you have to investigate. There has to be an investigation. And that's not always the case. In a lot of cases there is an investigation. But because this reality is infinite possibilities, it can happen in any way, these awakenings. In any way. So to go back to the title of the talk, which is something astonishing begins to happen when you totally accept that your life isn't about you. I forgot the title again. It's not actually about you. So when you really go into this subject and really begin to investigate who you are beyond the story of you, beyond anything that is changing and moving in this world, the phenomenal thing that begins to happen is that you begin to wake up to who you truly are. And that is phenomenal. That is undescribable. It's total freedom from this dream, from this life, from the pains and pleasures that happen, from birth, from death. Nisargadatta calls it bliss. Ananda Mayuma would call it God. And in this moment I would say it's home. It's what you've always looked for. And for those that have been watching for a long time and really understand these concepts, so today I used consciousness and I am. Like, don't let that be your boundary, because actually consciousness and I am are the beginning. They're like the gateless gate. So you use consciousness and I am to investigate, but eventually they begin to lose their boundaries. And they're like this gateless gate into the infinite. And then you can't really say what you are. Some people say awareness or big consciousness, but it's undefined. What you are is undefined, but totally free. So non-duality is a message of waking up. Of waking up. Of stop dreaming that you are your thoughts, your beliefs, your body, your ideas, your sensations. Wake up. Wake up. Stop dreaming. Okay, so for those on YouTube, I'm going to end the talk now. For those in Zoom, you can stay on and I will answer questions. If you want to join these private talks, then you can find out how to do that on my website under live streaming. Yeah. It'll be in the box below or in that information thing up there. Yeah. Thank you to those in YouTube. I really, really, really wish you everything. Every goddamn thing.